Welcome aboard.
What's up? My name is Marlene Aguilar. I am a life insurance agent, and I'm on the L podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the L Podcast. This is your host, Laniqua. You already know how we do it every week. We gotta have a special guest on the show. So this week, I decided to do something different. This special guest that we're bringing on the show, she does a very special thing with her job, and I feel like everyone should be informed. But I'm gonna let her get in tune. So, can you please just introduce yourself and what you do?
I am a life insurance broker. That's what I do.
Okay. So how long you been doing life insurance?
I've been in the industry for about, I want to say 4 years now.
Mm-hmm. Is it a difference between like life protection and life insurance, or
No,
is the
you
same
go whichever
thing?
you would like to call it, whichever you feel more comfortable saying. I always just stick to what it is, straightforward life insurance.
Mm-hmm. So how you knew this was like? What made you want to pursue this career?
So I actually don't come from experience in the industry at all. So what I just started doing, or what I actually came off doing, was I used to work at hotels. While at working hotels, one day I just got bored. I was just on Instagram scrolling. I ran into this girl, and she was in the industry. And I just checked out her page, followed her. We had a lot of friends in common, but we didn't know each other. And then she would just post stuff about life insurance and educating, and I got interested, but I never said anything until she reached out to me, and we kind of just talked about what it was. And at first, to me, it just started as of making extra money, because at that time I had just had my first daughter. Going back to school wasn't an option for me, so I definitely needed to weigh my options at that moment. Becoming a mother is a big life-changing event.
I definitely understand.
So you gotta get it together.
Yeah.
And we just kind of talked about it. Once I sat down and she showed me what it was and how it worked, everything just clicked. So I'm Mexican, we're immigrant from Mexico. We don't know anything about life insurance, so we just kind of never really talked about it. It's something that we don't know about. We don't bring it up, and that was it. So, like I said, once I learned how it worked, I was able to fall in love with being able to help people, how it worked, and went from there. And then I just got into the industry that way.
Okay. So give me like a situation how you were able to help your family with the information that you know now.
So if I didn't get in the industry, my family and myself, we wouldn't have life insurance.
Oh, okay.
So that's one of the biggest things that helped, that being educated on the matter, learning how it worked, I was able to get my family policy. So my little sister is protected, my mother is protected, I'm protected, and most importantly, my daughters are protected.
That's such a blessing. So, I just got an idea for a question. So, even if you're an undocumented immigrant, can you still get life insurance?
Yes.
Okay.
But it depends. Certain countries like Venezuela, there's like I don't know exactly what the word is, but we're not able to help, unfortunately, like country like that. But like Mexico, we're able to, because I got a policy. My mom got a policy, and
so is it like a certain, just the U.S. just don't have ties with like South America, or Mexico just got more ties with the U.S. so they able to get life insurance?
I believe it all comes down to politics within how they're with the U.S. I think it just goes based off of that politics at the end of the day.
Okay. So I seen you post something on Facebook about life insurance and real estate. Can you tell me about that? Because I never thought about just life insurance and real estate coming together.
Yeah, so it actually comes perfectly in hand, because in real estate, it takes you a couple years. Well, I'm not really knowledgeable in real estate, but what I do know is it takes you quite some time, or a little bit of time, to make a sale, because, you have clients that you have to show them homes, and they have to be happy, and then, the actual closing, it takes time, and then the payout. So that goes more so on the agent side, so a realtor, agents. So I always say, hey, add a life producer license to your belt, because within that time that you're taking to close a deal on a home, you're able to make money in between closings with life insurance, and you're able to help your clients better with life insurance, because life insurance is the foundation So, let's say, for example, you build a home. Do you start with the ceiling or you start with the foundation? You start with the foundation, right? Because if you start with the ceiling, it falls apart, right? Like, let's say, for example, it rains, water's going to get in. So you need a ceiling and you need a foundation. So let's say life insurance is the foundation and real estate is the ceiling.
Okay, cool. So what how important is to your community, like how do you go in your community and make them aware of the life insurance? Like what steps and everything have you taken, and what has been the good and bad to try to get people listening to you?
So we don't do any cold calling or door knocking. It pretty much is word of mouth. So a lot of people say, I don't want to sell to my family, or be pushy on them. But why not? Why not your family? Like, that's immediate family should be no matter what, or at least I think so. So when you start with your immediate family, then you get referrals. Someone gets a policy, then hey, I got a policy, or at least hey, let's sit down and just educate on it. Because that's the thing with me. I start on a very educational approach. It's never, hey, you should get this, hey, you should get that. It's more so, hey, let me educate you how it works, and if you see the value, then we go ahead.
Okay.
And it just starts from word of mouth and just talking to people, talking to your family, talking to your friends, talking to anybody, literally. That's pretty much how we spread just information between us. And then it starts getting to more people and more people. And me, myself, I started using social media a lot. Because social media, everybody's on social media.
Yeah.
So you could even make like a funny TikTok or educational 10-second video, and a lot of other people see it. So you could get clients in different states. Doesn't necessarily have to be, local. So you're able to help a lot of people.
Okay, so let's get the breakdown. So what is the process of getting life insurance?
So the policy is pretty much, so what you need to know is, in order to buy life insurance, you don't buy it with money. Yeah, you pay it with money, but in all essence, it has to be your age and your health. So if you're healthy and your age only, because the younger you get it, the less expensive it is. Not saying it's super expensive if you're a little bit older, but it's gonna cost a little bit more.
What, like $10-15?
It could be.
Okay.
Yeah, there's people that we help that have a budget, or if they want to get more coverage. It all just depends what the client wants.
Okay. So once they talk to you, and then they talk about, so can you talk about certain policies? What's the most people usually can get? Just some of the ranges.
$1 million.
$1 million?
Yes.
Okay. And so $1 million policy for a healthy person, how much that'll be a month?
So let me give you an example. Let's say myself, a 30-year-old woman, pretty healthy. It'll cost you about $50 to $70 for
a month.
$500,000. I mean, for $1 million in coverage a month.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so can we briefly talk about what diseases and certain diseases that can't get approved, or like some biases, or certain policies I know improve certain diseases and certain, just briefly talk about that.
So it would definitely be high cholesterol, high blood pressure, anxiety. I know a lot of people nowadays, they tend to have like, depression,
mental health issues.
Mental health is really important also.
And those get approved or don't get approved?
It's kind of a red flag. So
Okay.
I know for diabetes, some carriers do accept, depending on what medication you take, what medication you don't take. So there's that area where some you could, some you cannot. But high cholesterol and high blood pressure and heart diseases, stuff like that would be like automatic, like red flag, like no.
And what about felons? So how important for people to just stay out of trouble? Like how hard is it for felons to get life insurance?
They have certain criteria that they have to meet. So if you get a felony, you have to wait like a year after your conviction, or you have to wait till your probation period is over. So it's very important to stay out of trouble, and you definitely don't want to just catch a felony, because it kind of blocks you from a lot of things in life nowadays, unfortunately. But definitely life insurance is one of the other things that's really important to get in our community, Black and brown community. So We're a little hotheads, so
Yeah,
we
I
always want
definitely
to
agree.
steer away from, the violence or whatever would lead to, getting a felony.
So what is the stigma behind life insurance? Why you think people just don't get life insurance? Do you think it's just a lack of knowledge, or they just don't have the funds, or?
I believe it all comes down to the lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you educate them on how inexpensive it could be, they get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the lack of knowledge. It's the lack of not knowing where to go, not knowing who to trust. Because that's another thing in our communities. It's hard for us to trust anybody because, for once, people take advantage of us, or we just have a hard time trusting people. And especially with something so sensitive as far as life insurance, I feel like that's something that people are really cautious with. And another thing too, they say, "Oh, well, why are you talking to me about life insurance? You're jinxing me." But they don't ask that when they get insurance on car insurance. So, like, you don't say, "Oh, you're gonna jinx me to get in a car accident," right? But it goes all back down to the knowledge.
Yeah, the knowledge. Us being superstitious is everything. Because I honestly feel like if a lot of black and brown communities had insurance, we wouldn't be so quick to kill each other. The insurance companies would go bankrupt. Like, oh no, this community got life insurance. Like, we can't, we got to make sure the killing stops.
We got to be more, they'll be more cautious with us.
Yeah. So how can we educate our children about life insurance?
It all starts with us. We have to
Okay.
be open to the conversation, even though it might be uncomfortable. It might be something that it's new to us, very new to our community. Just being open, because it starts with us. Once we are informed, we're able to inform our children. Or if we don't inform ourselves, and then our children inform themselves, but that's going to be down the line. That's going to take some time. So I would say definitely it starts with at home.
Is it any like highlighted stories that just brought you like some consciousness, or that with you being like an insurance agent, is it like a story that just popped out to you that you was really able to help someone?
I haven't had any claims, but I know of someone very close to me that has had a claim. So this individual is actually one of our agents. So he was able to get a policy. I believe him and his wife both got policies. But this individual, out of nowhere, he was home with his children, and I believe his wife was. I don't remember exactly where his wife was, but she wasn't home, and she's usually the one at home because her children are homeschooled. But for some reason, the dad was there with the children, and out of nowhere, the mom calls the husband and says, tries to get a contact of him. He doesn't answer. One of his daughters answers the phone and says, "Hey, Daddy's taking a nap on the floor, on the kitchen floor." And then, as a mother, you're like, okay, well, why is my husband on the floor taking a nap? So automatically red flag, like she just rushed home, and she just, you feel when something is wrong. And he ended up having like a stroke, and he was 36. He is 36 years old because he's still living.
Oh,
He's 30, like around 36 years old. He suffered a stroke, and very, very healthy individual. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's when you think like, okay, we could be healthy today, but we just never know. But he was able to put a claim for his policy while he was in the hospital. Those bills don't stop coming. They got to get paid. So they were able to use that money or get access to some of that money from their policy, because in these policies you get to have up to 90% access of your policy. So they were able to use that for hospital bills. The wife even upgraded her car, and now they upgraded their home too. So there's a lot of uses that you could do with that money. So it's not just hospital bills or medication and all of that. So
Yeah.
that story stays to me because it's like, your daughter finding you on the floor thinking you're taking a nap, and like, what if something else could have happened? Like, what if they didn't have life insurance? What would have happened to their home? And it's, I believe, 3 children. It's like, I wouldn't want to, think about it.
Yeah, that's so deep, and thank God he's alive. That just brought me to another question. So is your life insurance policy that you save money on, is that taxed?
Tax free.
It's tax free. Okay.
So life insurance has tax advantages thanks to code 7702. So it's just a tax code that people need to be familiar with. Just like a 401k, it's also a tax code.
Okay.
So thanks to that code, it's able to be tax advantage, which is tax free.
Okay. So where you from?
I am Mexican,
So what?
but I was raised in Chicago.
Okay. Okay. So how have you like been enjoying your journey as just being a mother and pursuing this type of career with just helping people? Like, what advice would you give to, women that's out here just helping people and just trying to pursue their career and take care of their children?
I say it's definitely doable. It's hard, don't get me wrong. It is definitely hard because there's no such thing as balance. No matter how much balance you try to find, you just kind of just do it. As a mom, I feel like, or especially me as a single mother, I feel like I just kind of juggle it all, from taking my kids to school, picking them up. That's another thing why I love what I do, that I have the ability to take my daughters to school, pick them up. If I want to get them out of school early, I'm going to, because I want to be that fun mom. I don't want to be like, oh, my mom's this, my mom's that. Like, I want to have fun with my kids because I want them to enjoy their childhood, because their childhood goes so quick.
Yeah,
so
it does.
regardless of my business, my priority is my kids. Because if my kids are not good, my business doesn't thrive. And then if my kids are not good, and not saying it'll take away from me wanting to help people, but if I see them good, I want to do better,
Yeah.
So it comes down to just doing it. Anything is possible. Just go for it. Don't think about it.
Good. All right. So thank you for coming on the show this week. Please tell everyone where they can follow you.
So you could find me on Instagram at the Life Insurance Chick. Then that is CHIC.
And then what about Facebook?
Facebook, it's Marlene Aguilar, but you could also find me through the Life Insurance Chick too, because I kind of integrated it together.
And what's the name of the company that you work?
So it's not a company that I work for; it's a brokerage. So it's PHP, which stands for People Helping People. So I'm independent agent through them. So I'm able to run my business under their name.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the L podcast. Make sure y'all tune in to this episode. Make sure you go back to past episodes, and we will see you next week.
Soliciting and gambling. Get down, little mama.